We got some breaking news in the Epstein-Donald Trump scandal. Bloomberg has gotten its hands on tens of thousands of emails belonging to Jeffrey Epstein, effectively his inbox. And it, once and for all, demonstrates that Ghislaine Maxwell lied under oath when she was giving what Donald Trump hoped would be helpful information, credible information to his lackey, Todd Blanche of the Department of Justice. It was all a lie. The only thing I think she said that was true was her name, because inside that treasure trove of emails that Bloomberg and now we have been able to access were the gift list of $1.8 million worth of gifts, mostly through her, that Jeffrey Epstein gave not only wealthy people, including Bill Clinton being listed, Alan Dershowitz being listed as getting extravagant gifts, but an entire section for gifts given to his victims, because we now know the names of his victims and what he bought them and when he bought them and how he bought them through Ghislaine Maxwell, who denied, of course, in her 300-page transcript to the government to try to get out of jail, denied any involvement. Well, the emails tell a completely different story. Not only do you have the spreadsheet prepared by her accountant, forget the client list, we got the spreadsheet of the gifts that Epstein had Maxwell procure and give to victims and powerful men alike. We also show the emails also show the closeness of the relationship, which was denied by Maxwell and Epstein. How close they were. They were even in the process of fertility treatment, I guess, for Maxwell to have Epstein's baby. You also saw the perverse exchanges where people were coming to Epstein and offering women, girls, including fathers of some of the victims who were paid, according to a spreadsheet, $10,000, I guess, to have his prostitute out his daughter, his young daughter. And there's even a message referencing Donald Trump, and it bolsters our analysis that the reason that Donald Trump got rid of his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein had nothing to do with the fact that he knew or should have known that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile, but it was over a financial transaction, over a $41 million piece of property. How do I know that? Because there's an email in which Ghislaine Maxwell lists all the participants effectively in the transaction and comments about, well, the paper's probably talking to these people about that piece of property. Right, because that's the reason. It was a fight over a $41 million piece of property that led Donald Trump to get rid of Jeffrey Epstein, not because he thought he was a creep or he thought he was or Donald Trump was a FBI informant. There's so much in this mother load of emails. It's going to take several hot takes, but I'm going to give you the overview right here on Legal AF. I'm Michael Popak. You're here on Thursday morning. Let's get into it. Bloomberg has not revealed how these emails were obtained, but I will tell you they are devastating. Mainly, how do I know that? Because Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, that never shuts up around a microphone, has been completely silent. Remember, he's trying to do a rehabilitation campaign to portray Ghislaine Maxwell as a victim. Alan Dershowitz went on television on Fox News, former Harvard law professor, who was Epstein's lawyer who negotiated his non-prosecution agreement and had him spend a short amount of time in jail for copping to a plea of soliciting prostitution from a child. He got a $75,000 car, a Lexus, by Epstein and Maxwell. Doesn't talk about that when he goes on Fox News or Newsmax and defends Ghislaine Maxwell, that he got paid off by Donald Trump, by Epstein. Never, of course, that's never mentioned. There's emails in there between Epstein and victims in which he talks about sex and demanding sex from them. There's emails in this treasure trove between Epstein and others saying, you got to meet this young Russian college student because she will be able to get you other Russian girls or other girls that are in her school in New York. And Epstein says, send her over. Okay? So this theory that nobody, including Donald Trump, could have known that Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and went after girls has all been destroyed. We have a concept in the law called willful blindness. You cannot be willfully blind. You cannot, because the law exists under a new or should have known standard. Donald Trump should have known, if he didn't actually know, that his best friend was a pedophile and raping girls. And how do we know that? Look at the birthday album. 237 pages. Many of the pages are disgusting. References to Jeffrey Epstein and girls and little girls. I turned 50. I didn't get a birthday album like that. There's a hand-drawn cartoon of Jeffrey Epstein on one side of it with balloons and candies for little girls at a school. And in the next panel, it's him being massaged and whatever with bikini-clad girls. In the book, we'll show that. In addition, there is his Amazon receipts from 2008, 2009, and beyond. And he bought a little girl's school uniform, an FBI agent's uniform, and a bullwhip. Can tell a lot about a person from their Amazon account. But the dots that Donald Trump refused to connect. You had one picture in the album, again, friends of Jeffrey Epstein, where girls are massaging Jeffrey Epstein naked, topless. One of them has his initials tattooed on her buttocks. Nobody is denying the veracity or the validity of any of the entries in the 237-page book, double-sided. It's 500 entries. Only Donald Trump, only somebody hatched a plot 30 years ago to go after Donald Trump and have it surface in 2025 by pasting into a book a forged birthday card that matches in tone and matches in content everybody else's submission, including Alan Dershowitz with a dirty submission. But when you look at the emails, and I'll read a few of them to you, you've even got Maxwell and Epstein talking about the language and what deal he should take in 2008, negotiated by Dershowitz, which deal he should take. Should he do lewd and lascivious or sex with a minor? And they're going back and forth about, what do you think? Which is better for me to put in my plea deal and go away for a few months? And then, of course, all the emails from Ghislaine Maxwell to Epstein while he was in jail for that short amount of time, telling how, in her heartfelt way, how much she missed him. There's also, which also puts a lie to her testimony, where she said, I didn't make much money with him, or I don't know where the money came from. There's entire spreadsheets and entries for her involvement as a director of one of his major companies. Bank accounts opened in her name. She's a willing participant. If you wondered why she was convicted after several weeks by a jury, 9-0, beyond a reasonable doubt, for child sex trafficking, the emails help tell the story. It also tells the story why Donald Trump is trying to dupe the American people into believing that Ghislaine Maxwell is innocent, to rehabilitate her reputation so she can vouch for him, right? So let me go over some of the emails that are in here. Let me start with the spreadsheet of gifts and payments. You've got $200 to a Victoria's Secrets gift to a victim who testified at trial. You've got $1,200 for a Thai massage class to women that he was recruiting. Those are all receipts in his email box. $33 massage for dummies books, a $10,000 Rolex watch, $2,000 rent for a victim who was recruited by Maxwell, $3,300 for laptops for two young women described as Epstein's assistants and his victims, $3,700 check to a victim for the International Studies Program, $2,000 for Kaplan Business, English as a second language for 2 women that are his victims, $25,000 wire to one woman who was described as his assistant and his victim, $500 gift card for a lingerie store for 2 women described as his assistants, diamond necklaces and earrings for Maxwell, a Lexus to Alan Dershowitz, etc., etc. You have the emails and watches for his friends. Here's the email in August of 2007 about the real estate deal that is the true reason that Donald Trump fired Epstein as a friend. It had nothing to do with him knowing he was a pedophile or acknowledging it. This is from Maxwell to Jeffrey Epstein. You have to assume this is right around the time, right before he signed the non-prosecution agreement. You have to assume I assume that's the prosecutors, went to Donald Trump, then Gossman, the docks in West Palm Beach, Pashkow, etc. Let's talk through that. Abe Gossman is a healthcare magnate who owned a property that Trump bought for $41 million, but only after a heated bidding war with Epstein. That's the reason they no longer talked after 2007, 2008. And this proves that point, or at least demonstrates that that was an event, a transaction that even Epstein was concerned about. So they're afraid that the prosecutors went to Trump about that property, Gossman about that property. The docks in West Palm Beach, I don't think that refers to doctors. I think that refers to documents, which would have been recorded with the property assessor's office, the clerk's office, which sits in West Palm Beach. Having lived in West Palm Beach, I think that's the story. And Pashkow is another real estate person that is well known to Epstein and Trump. And he was also in the birthday book. He's the one that had the photo of Donald Trump along with Epstein selling a girl for $22,000. Again, willful blindness on the part of Donald Trump. He either knew he was friends with a sexual predator or he had willfully made himself blind to that fact. But now with these emails out, and we'll do other hot takes about it and other deep dives about it. Now that these are out, there's no way Ghislaine Maxwell can be given a pardon. There's no way the story of her being a victim can survive. And that makes that puts Donald Trump in a tremendous hole. This is why he's leaning into the Charlie Kirk assassination so heavily, to get away from his deep friendship and the scandal around him being close ties with a convicted child sex trafficker and his continued refusal to release the documents. And that means free media and First Amendment freedom of the press has to go out and find these emails and report on it. We're doing it here. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to post what I can on our Legal AF Substack so you can get access to it. In the meantime, I'm Michael Popok. Take a minute, hit the free subscribe button, and do the same thing on Legal AF Substack. Thank you for being here, and until my next report. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.